Brought to you by MuleSoft, provider of the industry-leading Anypoint platform for APIs.
So my name is Noam. I'm from a company called SimilarWeb that I'll talk a bit in a couple of minutes. And today I'm going to talk about something I call API growth hacking. API and growth hacking are being too used in the last couple of months, couple of years already. So I want to tell you exactly what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to share with you our own personal story, the personal story of our API, and how we got to hundreds of thousands of dollars in new revenue in only 3 months since inception. I'm going to share with you some insights about the KPIs, how to measure your progress, how to know that you're doing the right thing. And I'm going to tell you how to maximize your existing resources that sometimes, let's face it, it's basically you, or sometimes you own 50% job, and how you can maximize it to get your API to where you really want it to get, to build a marketing team, to build a sales team, to build a customer support team. So let's start. So SimilarWeb, and how many of you heard about SimilarWeb before? Cool, not bad. So SimilarWeb is basically the largest online platform today for web measurement and mobile apps measurement. We have an online panel of about 60 million people and a similar panel for mobile users. And in addition to very powerful crawlers, we're able to do things like tell you exactly what is the traffic, for example, for every website in the world, what is the engagement for every mobile app in the world, to do industry analysis and tell you what are the leading websites for every category in the world, and so much more. For example, this is some of the data that we share with our clients. You can see desktop visits. There's also mobile web. There's also mobile engagement. We can give you the share of voice on traffic, on search traffic, on paid search traffic, so you can get the exact keywords that your competitors are using in order to get traffic. You can see where they get the traffic from. You can see engagement and traffic on mobile apps. And some of our clients that are already using the platform, you can see for yourself. There are several in the UK. So my personal journey in SimilarWeb started about a year ago when they acquired my company. And I joined as something really fun and odd that they call head of Similar Labs. My job is basically to build new business units, find out if they are profitable, if it makes sense to grow them, and then scale them in case they're working. And we found out that the API is a very profitable business, and this is exactly what I want to talk about. So the beginning is actually I want to talk about this graph. This shows our growth by API hits. It's a metric that we're using in the last several months. And I want to talk about this graph that shows our growth in comparison to the marketing spend. And this is basically our story, and I want to talk about all kinds of pointers that help us get to where we got. So when we started, and just before I proceed, how many API business people there are in the crowd? Let's say program managers? No program managers. Okay, so how many developers? Cool. Okay, fine. So when I started working on the API, I was a bit overwhelmed. That was the first time that I was handling an API program. And you know, there's the product, there's the sales, there's the support, there's the BI, there's so many things that you need to address to. And I did what every other normal API manager would do, and I created a plan, a plan that makes sense, how to build a team and how to scale the plan and how to create everything. But then reality came and nothing happened, basically. So how did we end up with this eventually? And that's the subject of the talk. I want to talk about those 3 incidents in time, in April, May, and June, July, and what led us there. So let's begin. Know how to count. So when you're starting to look on your API, or for that matter, any other product, and I'm sure there's so many people here that build products and heard and saw something like that before, you need to determine the KPI because you need to know if you're growing, and you need to know if you're failing, and this is sometimes more important to know that you're succeeding or growing. And you need to choose KPIs that make sense to you. So those are 4 sample KPIs that I personally chose for our program. Those might make sense to you guys. Those make sense to paid APIs, not to free APIs. And we chose the unit usage divided by the actual number that we sold, so we can really understand if people are enjoying this and using this and getting their money worth. We chose the cost per lead. That makes sense. And in the cost, I'm calculating everything: the salaries of my team, travel costs if I'm going to conventions, basically everything that you can calculate into it. A lot of people are using only the cost for, let's say, PPC or media buy. Don't do that. That's just faking it. Time to purchase. In our case, we're giving a free subscription, and then someone is paying eventually, hopefully. And the conversion of leads from free to paid. In case of free APIs, that should be a bit different, but I guess that will make sense to you also. If you want more KPIs that are more relevant to free APIs, you should check the link there. You'll have the presentation after the convention, and that's a presentation by Dave McClure from 500 Startups. It's called KPI for Pirates KPI for Startup or something like that, something very cool, and it's 120 pages slide only about KPIs. Fun. Another thing is see inside your metrics and understand what you can learn from it. So this is a bit complicated slide, and you don't need to analyze it. But basically, one of the first things I did is to understand where the traffic is coming from, where the leads are coming from, and start actually looking into it and try to understand what I can squeeze out of the existing client base and out of the existing traffic that we're already getting, and trying to find the anomalies. So, for example, I discovered that although most of our traffic came from one source, it didn't correlate it with the amount of leads that we got from that traffic source. And that's something that when you see it visualized, it makes a lot of sense. But a lot of the times, especially when you're starting to run your API, you don't really notice those kind of things. For example, I realized, you can see here the Marketo 1.8, that I got customers from an app that I never used for my API, and 1.8 for my leads got from Marketo. So when we dug deeper, we understood that that came from a different product of ours, and then we started investing more resources in those clients, and we got that number eventually to 6. That was very, very, very cool. Another thing that is very helpful in terms of understanding your new KPIs is to look at your competitors, and competitive intelligence is something that not everyone likes to do, especially if you don't like marketing. But I give you 4 examples of stuff that you can learn from your competitors, and those are print screens from SimilarWeb. You can use whatever, any other platform that you might choose. But here, for example, you can see that I chose one of our competitors. I won't mention their name. And here, under number 1, you can see all of the referral websites that are sending traffic to that competitor. So I was able to go ahead, approach those websites, and try to get links from them to me. You can see also ProgrammableWeb in the respectable number 4. Number 2 are the search terms, what people are looking for in order to get to them. You can take this and you can write articles about the search terms, try to increase your SEO ranking, try to get more relevant results on Google. You can also buy those keywords and get cheap traffic, because I can promise you that buying the term free or entity extraction is not very expensive. Number 3 is to understand how much money they actually spend on search. This is something that is very hard to benchmark, to understand if you're spending enough money or are you spending too much money on paid traffic. You can see how much your competitors or how much traffic your competitors are getting, and understand if you're in the right direction. And also, number 4 is basically a conversion rate that you can get. So this is also something that our platform does. I guess that you can get it from other places, but basically I was able to calculate the conversion of leads from the homepage, and this is why I chose 10% as the number in the KPIs of leads to conversion. So those things are highly valuable when you're looking at your API and trying to get the right numbers to measure your progress. Another thing is the communities. About GitHub, Stack Overflow, and there's so many developers in the audience. I don't need to tell you how important those resources are. They have they have a lot of your potential developers sitting there, talking about you, creating content about you. You should take advantage of that. And there are basically 5 things you can do. You can either engage your audience there and participate in discussions, answer on questions. You can partner with them. You can do cross promotion, help them in some way. You can do takeovers. We call it organic takeovers, which basically means that you're looking for answers that are related somehow to your concept, and you're starting answering them. So you're not doing something that is not cool or a bit fishy. You're just taking over organically about your category. You can buy ads. You can, for example, ProgrammableWeb, they also write about you, and they also sell you ads inventory that are performing very well. And you can give. For example, one of our partners, we created a tool that was designated especially for them, because I wanted to give them something that they will be able to give their audience, and then they will be able to send their audience back to us. Some will call it bribe, I call it give. And all of those initial efforts that we did around April caused this minor lift that eventually escalated to more lifts. And that was basically the lesson number 1, that we had to know our numbers in order to start understanding exactly what we're doing. Lesson number 2, to do things that don't scale. And that's my favorite part, personally. When you're starting an API program, especially if it's part of an existing company, and you're building the API as a product, as a new product, or you're even starting, if you're a small startup or a huge company that needs to educate everyone in the company, you don't have any resources. You don't have a marketing division that will do everything that you ask them to. You don't have sales people that are designated to help you out, pre-sales, post-sales, everything that you would like to call it. And most of the time you don't have a customer support, a customer success team that support your audience, and you need to do everything by yourself. So I understood that. I had to do everything by myself. And I thought, how can I solve this problem? How can I solve my own problem and create new units without a lot of money and without a lot of resources? So as a beginning, I started by mapping the dream flow of sales and support. What's supposed to happen? For example, for the developers portal, you're going to a trial, and then to purchase, and then to upsell. That's easy. And then what I would like to happen with an army of salespeople and an army of customer support. I want them to approach them. I want them to use chat. I want them to use desk.com or whatever to get the first tickets. I want a special account manager to approach them personally, and I want Marketo to nurture them. And you know the drill, something very complicated. And in order to create that, I started with a dream plan. And then I looked on the actual numbers. How many emails I'm sending, how many phone calls I need to do, how many outgoing, how many incoming, other interaction, and especially what is the percentage of clients of paying clients, not leads, I need to emphasize, that are buying the API without me touching them in some way. That sounds weird. But basically, what I need to do in order to scale this thing without a lot of resources. And that led me to my favorite slide here, wax on, wax off. That I decided that I'm not going to do anything that is repetitive. I'm going to do only things that are that I can be helpful with, and that I need to think for, and I need to create something. And I'm not going to do anything that requires me to do the same jobs over and over. Wax on, wax off. You saw Karate Kid, right? Like you seem a little blank. So we built a very, very cool tool that basically automated all of the sales, the pre-sales, the first customer support, IT questions, and first nurturing of leads. And you can do the same thing also, and I would be able to share everything here with you. So check this out. We're using Freescale. You know Freescale? Yeah. Heard about it? You're from Freescale? No? So we're using Freescale, and we like it a lot as the account management platform. As some of you know, they don't have an out-of-the-box analytics systems, but they have a very cool API. So we took Freescale and started pulling data about our clients' usage into a Google Doc sheet based on a custom function that we built. So we started with that. We wanted to build some kind of an account management platform that will get a lot of data. So I hired someone on Odesk for like $5 an hour that went every day into Freescale, got the new leads, pasted it into a Google spreadsheet, and then automatically the custom function went out and brought the actual numbers of the usage. Then we built a special function that went to our Google Analytics NP week that we're using to use the full functionality of Google Analytics, but without paying the $150,000 per year. And we enriched our leads with the source of the traffic. So now we have a spreadsheet that has the email of my lead, how many API calls they actually initiated, and the source of that specific lead. So I know if it came from organic, I know if it came from referral, I know if it was paid, and I know if he actually activated his API. Now we added also data from Rapportive. Rapportive is a company that LinkedIn bought about a year ago that did something very, very easy. You use it as a Gmail add-on, and you will be able to get all of the social entities, and especially the LinkedIn entities. So using the same technique, I was able also to understand if it's a VP marketing in a very important company, or if it's just a kid trying to hack his way, which is also important, but is not as profitable. So we took those types of data, and we also connected it to Mailgun and to other analytics things. And basically, the thing that they got in the end of the day is a platform that enabled me to communicate with all of my leads, understand exactly what is the ROI on all of my marketing channels, to see if the message that I'm using in the emails is working or not, and answer them immediately with also a personal touch. And this is something that you can do on your own. And this thing alone, and also another integration that we did with a company called Coders Clan. I don't know if you heard about it. We integrated our third-tier support, which actually is integration support, to them. So we paid around 25 to 50 bucks. That's it for each client, and we can cover integration costs of our API. That is so simple. And I removed about 2 days of work for my week. And that happened. Once we used that doc. We started contacting people on the right time. We started understanding exactly what they need. We started understanding exactly the ROI on our marketing activities. And we started integrating other people's services. We got help. So there's actually 2 lessons in this specific journey. And getting help is a huge part of it. The 4th lesson, which is also cool, and if you've been here in the lecture that was yesterday, about 5 or 6 channels to do API marketing and sales, you saw some of those things. There are a lot of companies out there. There are a lot of API platforms or data libraries or data markets that have huge audience, and you should take advantage of that. You should use them and see if you can integrate and you can work with them in a way that makes sense to you and makes sense to your company. So I want to share with you several examples that we used. So the first is DNB. I'm sure that some of you know the largest database for companies. They have data partners. And there's a lot of other companies that have data partners. And when someone is querying their API and they have a lot of paying customers, you can have you listed here. You need to apply for all kinds and jump through several hoops. But working with them can increase your credibility, can increase the amount of people that are applying for your API, and can give you a lot of strength in the shape of people that are actually approaching you and asking you to integrate your data in their API. And this is something that worked tremendously well for us. Another example is the Azure data market. Microsoft. And once you're getting your data integrated in this place, you can be in the BI software of Microsoft, in the BI service. You can be in their Excel. They can start getting data automatically from you. They can use your API and even pay if they have any other service that is also featured in the Microsoft Store. And that's also was very, very helpful, and that's a great leverage. And then they always looking for unique data providers. So if you can provide something that, let's say, no one else can, or something that is not already featured in the Azure data market, I can help you get there and get featured. And the process is similar to the process of getting your app featured. In the App Store or in the Play Store, you need to talk with the editors. You need to understand who's in charge on specific on a specific category, and basically you need to build a relationship. It's the same everywhere. It's the same in everything, but for APIs, I think it's easier than getting your app featured or something like that, because there's not as many, and most people are not doing a good job in this category. So go ahead. The best place for us, the most converting place, was Salesforce AppExchange. Building an app for Salesforce, you know what, let's take it the other way around. Salesforce app market, only the apps, is $1.5 billion a year. Oh, that's crazy. And building an app that can tap into that market with using a unique source of data can really be a game changer for companies. There are companies that are base their entire business on this specific market, and I hope they won't go out of business when Salesforce release their analytics product next month in their convention. I can't remember the name, Force something. But this is a very, very powerful tool, and if you can build an app on top of Salesforce, on top of Marketo, on top of MailChimp, on top of Sugar CRM, on top of Microsoft, you should do that, because sometimes we can waste our time trying to create more distribution channels and going to hackathons and buying traffic and doing all the things that you guys know how to do. But sometimes this is the best way to go, my advice. The most intensive integration we did is integration with Google Docs. They 7 or 8 months ago released a new app store, a new add-on app store, and that basically gives you the ability to, in addition to just writing custom functions and starting distributing them, you can actually get your data inside the laptop of every user of Google Spreadsheet and Google Docs, and basically do everything in a matter of seconds. So we built a Google Doc add-on, and we started distributing it. And again, we got it featured using talking with the good folks of Google, and that alone initiated more than $100,000 in revenue. And this happened without us promoting it in our website in the beginning, without us telling about it to anyone, just organic traffic. Think about the opportunities if it's free version and it makes sense to people to use it in their platform. We also adopted a very cool policy, product a week. Every week on Thursday evening, we released a new product that is related somehow to Google. That was when we first started working with them. We created spreadsheets that were based before our add-on, and every single one of them addressed a special market need. We took all of the personas that are using our API, and we built special integration for them. We built it for SEO people. We built it for media buyers. We built it for paid search people, and that was hands down the biggest driver of traffic to our website, and also the biggest driver of new revenue to our website. And during the process, we did that, and this is why I mentioned at the beginning that it happened between June and July. This thing happened, and that happened not because this specific effort. It happened because everything accumulated, from understanding what are the KPIs and focusing on them, from understanding what exactly we need to do and what kind of automation we need actually to implement in our product, from the understanding of not doing repetitive things and using the resources in a way that makes sense, and from piggybacking existing platform that already have a user base and have an audience. So just to take things from the top to remind you everything that we did. When you're building KPIs, you need to think about the business objectives. And sometimes it's hard to think about the business objectives when we're so focused on the things that we build, on the things on our product and not the entire business approach. But you got to have this. I can't emphasize it more. It's like pilots that you should look on the numbers, look on the device, use the KPIs to navigate, and don't look left and right. They will guide you to profit or to adoption. Do things that don't scale. It's true in our case, the marketing, the sales, the customer support, but it's very true to other things. Just go ahead, try everything that is working, that can be worked, fail fast. Just don't bother if this thing makes sense to 50 million users. It's most likely that once you're launching an API program or you're launching a new API product, you're not going to get a zillion hits, and your servers are not going to melt. Probably no one is going to come, okay? So do whatever you think that can work, and once you get into trouble, then start thinking about scale. I have friends in dozens and dozens of startups, and I think the only one that had scale problems is the one that worked in Instagram. So don't worry about that. Get help. Integrate as many services as possible that will help you get to the place you need. Okay, just look for it, try to work with them. If it's not working, if it's not catching, so remove them, no hard feelings. It's helping a lot. You don't have a lot of resources, and you want to at least appear big and important and dangerous and whatever, but this can go very, very far. And as I said, take a ride with someone important, with someone that already did it, with someone that has 500 people working in marketing for him, and let him do the hard work, let him do the heavy lifting, and just build your awesome product, just integrate your awesome data with their products, and see what happens next.
Brought to you by MuleSoft, provider of the industry-leading AnyPoint platform for APIs.